I've got a really exciting piece of news to share with you this morning, and that is Elon Musk could be secretly preparing what could be the largest IPO of the decade. And I just found this out through reading one of Jeff Brown's reports today. And what I'm going to do is just reveal some details about what's going on and basically the huge opportunity that it potentially presents investors, because this is massive. So I'm not going to gabble on. I'm going to get on with it. Just very quickly, I didn't figure this out myself. I'm just like a basic investor, and I'm always reading and researching, and I've found this out through one of Jeff Brown's premium reports, and I want to share that with you guys. So I can't take credit for this. This all comes from Jeff and his near future report. So basically it all revolves around SpaceX. Now Jeff basically believes that Elon Musk could be preparing SpaceX for an IPO, and I'm going to give you some really interesting stats here. Now, SpaceX, most people know SpaceX for Musk's basically intergalactic rocket program. It fires rockets in space, and his goal is to basically get to Mars and start colonizing Mars. But what most people do not know, and I didn't know this as well, is that Starlink is a huge part of SpaceX. Now, basically, Musk uses SpaceX rockets to fire Starlink satellites into space. That is the main reason for SpaceX. And currently, there's 7,000 Starlink satellites in space at the moment, and over the next 12 months, Musk wants to create that to 10,000. And you're probably thinking to yourself, why is that a big deal? Because I'm going to run through some stats in a minute, but if all of this goes to plan, which it is because the US government is investing in this now as well, and it's adopting Starlink, Starlink could become the first global internet service provider in history, which would basically make SpaceX Musk's next $1 trillion company. And this is flying completely under the radar. Because this is a massive opportunity, because SpaceX at the moment is a private company. You can't buy shares publicly because it's not floated on any of the stock markets yet, but that could be about to change. But the real profit is getting in before the IPO, and Jeff has figured out a way of how to do that. So I've got some notes here. I just want to read through because I want to make sure I get this right. Like I said, SpaceX, the main reason for SpaceX is Starlink, firing Starlink satellites into space. It's on track to provide 10% of global internet. Now, the current revenue of Starlink is $6.5 billion a year, which dwarfs the revenue generated through Musk's rocket program. The potential rev, should all go to plan, is $650 billion a year. I think those figures will be met should Musk achieve 10% of global internet market. And basically Starlink is moving to mainstream internet adoption, because currently it mainly just provides military with internet and also extremely rural locations. But the goal is to basically become the global dominant player in basically providing internet services through Starlink. That is the goal. Currently, Starlink has 5 million users, and there's 5.5 billion internet users globally. So just think of it. That is just an insane opportunity. This is why this is so exciting, because the opportunity here is massive. So I'll be watching SpaceX like a hawk over the next couple of months. If Musk pulls this off, which he is, because he's basically got backing of the Federal Reserve and I think 84 billion, Starlink will become the biggest internet innovation since Netscape in the late 90s. So it'll become the first global internet service provider, because at the moment most internet service providers use ground-based systems, mainly through fiber optics, but that is insanely expensive. Musk's way is a lot cheaper and more efficient. It's a lot more secure as well. And the beautiful thing is there are no credible competitors. And if it pulls all of this off, which it will, this will be Musk's next trillion-dollar company. So this is, I don't want to use too much hyperbole and hype this up, but this is basically the biggest opportunity out there. And I think Musk's big goal is to create one huge sky grid of all of this internet. It'll be a global sky grid. Whether you're on the top of Everest or South Pole, you'll be able to get internet. And I think this is going to be going way beyond the internet. Basically, I think the big goal of this, and this isn't publicly known, I guess this is a little bit of conspiracy, but I've heard a lot of people talking about this. The goal of Starlink is not only to become the world's largest global internet service provider, but it's basically going to allow AI to basically control all of our lives. It's going to connect all of the AI systems in the future together to create, I think the goal is to have one massive AI hive brain that controls a lot of things. So Starlink is going to be an absolute Goliath. And yeah, it's and seeing revenues very steady now at SpaceX through Starlink. The conditions are there to start launching an IPO, and Jeff believes that potentially in the next, I don't know the timelines at the moment because I didn't find this out, but maybe in the next 6-12 months it could be going public, probably through someone like Morgan Stanley. But there's a backdoor way of how to basically get of how to invest in this privately. So basically, if you take early action, you can scoop up all of the profits, or sorry, not all of the profits. You could bag big time if all of this comes to fruition, which it will. Starlink is going to become the world's largest internet service provider. It's just a given. So yeah, big opportunities here. Basically, I haven't got all the details yet, but I think the way to do it through the back door is something for a company called, it's a fund called ARC. I'm going to have more details about that in the future, but if you really want to find more about this, I'm going to leave a link down below to one of Jeff Brown's latest presentation where he talks about this, goes into this in massive detail. So yeah, I'll leave a link that down below. It's not going to be down there yet. I'll add it later on today. But if you want to get all of the scoop on this, I highly suggest you join Jeff Brown's Near Future Report. This is where I learned all of this stuff. So this is pretty much hot off the presses of report in there. Goes through all of this, goes into this in way more detail, and it also gives you the opportunity of how to invest through basically a fund called ARC Venture Fund. So yeah, it's a massive opportunity. It could be one of the biggest opportunities out there currently if it all plays out, and I wanted to share it with you guys. If you want to join the Near Future Report, I'll leave a link in the comment description below where you can join 60% off, and later on today I'll add Jeff Brown's expose of this potential huge IPO that might be taking place in 2025 or 2026. So if you got value from this video, why not subscribe to the channel to get more content like this. Thanks for joining me, and I'll speak to you soon.